The final element of working capital is work in progress. Now, work in progress isn't relevant for every business, but we're going to talk through what makes up work in progress for you now, and then how to improve that. So firstly, on our Growth Center, there's actually a course around work in progress, but how to calculate it, how to make sure that your financial information is accurate by utilizing a work in progress process. But this video isn't around the process for calculating it, it's around understanding what it is and how to improve it. So if you want to get a tool for implementing it within your business, go to the Growth Center after you've watched this video and watch that course. This part though is around improving your work in progress. So what is work in progress? We've spoken about debtors, the clients that we sell to and are going to pay us in the future. We've spoken about creditors, suppliers that we take custody of their product or receive their service, and then we pay them in the future. And we've spoken about stock, either products that are raw material or finished goods that we then go and sell or utilize in the future. So work in progress is taking something from stock, but not yet invoiced to our client. So we're looking at a raw material, let's say I'm a construction company, and bricks. Bricks are raw material, but a wall that's half finished, that is work in progress. So a business such as a supermarket doesn't have work in progress. It has finished goods on the shelf or raw materials on the shelf, like a lettuce, a tomato, and then you go and you buy those products from them. There's an immediacy. So work in progress is when there's not an immediacy between something being taken off the shelf and the sale occurring. Again, if I go to my hairdresser, there's no work in progress. They immediately do the hair and you don't leave until it's done, or hopefully you don't leave until it's actually done, come to think of it. But when you could also have a service business like a law firm where you have extended work over a period of time, you can have work in progress. So if you're a business that does have elements that are in production, that is work in progress. So to put a definition on work in progress, or WIP, for this conversation, it's stock and labor that has been consumed or utilized, but not yet invoiced to the client. So there can be good WIP and there could be bad WIP. Let's talk about what are the good and the bad circumstances. So bearing in mind with this conversation, the objective is to get our invoice to the client as quickly as possible and then move into debtor management. So let's think of it like a cycle. You have stock to start with and you want to quickly, if you're a manufacturing or a construction business, or you're a service business where you have labor, you've got to have that stock or that person being utilized or consumed, which is going to move them into work in progress. We want to quickly move work in progress into debtors, into invoicing of the client. Therefore, we want to move that as swiftly as we can through those three different stages. And work in progress is often the one that's forgotten about. People obsess around how much days stock I have and how quickly people are paying me, but they don't actually think about the throughput or the process of getting the job done and how much that influences the resources that you have money going out versus how quickly it comes back in. So to understand good and bad WIP, firstly, we need to understand what the calculation is we're looking at and the information we need. So we need to understand the percentage of work complete based on revenue and the percentage of work complete based on expenses. You need to understand what the budget is for the project you're working on. So let's look at an example of a project where we're going to be invoicing the client $100,000 and there's going to be $70,000 worth of expenses on that job. So a 30% gross profit. In scenario one, let's assume we've invoiced $50,000 to the client, so 50% of the project, and we've incurred expenses of $14,000, so 20% of the $70,000. That is good WIP because we have invoiced the client quicker than the costs have come into our business. We've now got a chance to get that money from the client quicker as a result of invoicing ahead of where the project is at. An example of bad WIP with this project would be, let's say I've invoiced the client $25,000, 25% of the project value, but I've incurred $28,000 worth of expenses on the $70,000. That means I've consumed 50% of my expenses on the project. I'm not invoicing the client quick enough relative to the expenses I'm incurring on the job, which is bad WIP.